Hi, I just finished my zero clearance fence for my Dewalt 715 miter saw. I thought I might go over it just because I didn't see anything quite suitable on YouTube when I went looking, so it might be valuable to someone. Anyway, what I've done is on this particular model, the left fence will move, and they're pre-drilled holes. So this one's relatively simple to do. So what I've done is I've just matched up the holes in the fence. I've drilled quarter-inch hole and then countersunk just to get the nut head below the surface, and put that on there. So one thing that's interesting about this is you can only go about 5.5 inches high on this, and the reason is because the guard needs to clear. So at 5.5 inches you can clear this left fence. And what I've also done on both fences is I've also created a channel on the very bottom, and that's just so when you press a board under there, no sawdust builds up and keeps you from putting the material square on the fence, which is important. On the right fence, it's a little more complicated. One thing you need to know is you can only have this fence can only be 3 inches tall, and this is because if you're going to do a miter cut, I'm going to rotate this to 45 degrees. When this comes down, you need the motor itself comes down close to the fence, so that's why it needs to be 3 inches. And this is why the manufacturer fence is notched down like this. So to make it movable, because on this particular model the right fence is fixed, what I've done is I've created a channel. So that's a 1/4 inch routing bit, and I think it's 3/4 inch routing bit I use to route this so the nut itself can be countersunk. And what I've done is I've kind of centered it where it needs to be, these bolts where it needs to be, where it's square like this. And then all I've done is I've gone 1.5 inches this way and 1.5 inches that way, which is about right. It takes you pretty close to this on this one cut. And so on this particular one, what I've done is I've actually added wing nuts on the back. So what I can do is I can actually loosen this by hand and then retighten the fence. So I can always try to make it a zero clearance fence regardless of the 45 degrees. Of course, you can't bevel the saw. You'd have to, well, because this one cuts like this, you could loosen this fence and get it out of the way, but I'm not trying to take care of that. So it's just, I want to be able to make sure I can cut 50 degrees this way, 50 degrees that way. But otherwise you just move the fence around. So on a straight up cut, probably the best way to make sure you've got a really nice zero clearance is to take the saw. I'm just going to push this pin in so the saw itself is locked down, and you can just push it right up against the blade, and I'll tap this one up against the blade. And then what happens is when I do the cut, because the teeth are set slightly out, it's going to make a very tight cut. So doing this, you'll slowly reduce the fence, but given I don't know how many times you'd cut 45 degree cuts, but I'm guessing it's going to last years, even if you want that super tight zero clearance. Anyway, I don't think there's too much more. Oh, there's one other thing I did do. These boards are 22 inches long. The reason I did this is just because of the stand I have it on. So this is a nice stop. So if I have material out here, I can have a nice stop. What happens is when it's shorter, I don't really have it. So I wanted this board so I could clamp a stop onto this board and do a stop for repeated cuts on shorter material. Kind of the same thing here. So it's about 22 inches. Of course, you could slide in the stand a little bit. But anyway, like I said, I didn't see anything quite like it in the survey I did on YouTube. So I thought I'd just go ahead and share my experience. Hope it gives you a few ideas.